Stay tuned for a very, very important announcement about 6 hours into this video. Spring cleaning day. Okay? This video does have a purpose, trust me. But I decided to do some spring cleaning. Don't know why. Maybe spring, sunshine, whatever. But I decided to do it at like 11 o'clock at night. So normally what I would do is I'd pop in about 20 or 25 MP3s and play them over and over and over while I do some cleaning. But for some reason, I decided I wanted to listen to the radio. So I pop on a local rock station. And I hear a very, very familiar voice. Guy's name is Joe Rock, which is also a familiar name from high school. Joe Rock was a buddy of mine, or should I say the alter ego of a buddy of mine, whose name is Joe Bean, in high school. Two of us shared a class, geometry, 10th grade, and of course I went to school with the Penguins, not like Morgan Freeman marching with the Penguins. No, smack your hand with a fucking ruler, nuns, because you didn't spell your name right, or you didn't spell it with perfect penmanship. By the way, I have great penmanship because of Catholic school. But in 10th grade geometry, Sister John Rose absolutely had a vendetta against everyone and anyone whose last name ended in a vowel, which made me the bullseye on the target and made Joe Bean, whose father was Irish but mother was Italian, her secondary target. So one day she calls me up in front of the class and she says, "Luxley, come over here." So I go up there and she's like, "Do not copy Joe Bean's homework. This is the only time I will tell you, do not copy his geometry homework." So I'm like, "Okay, sister." She goes, "Shh," like nuns can easily do. And then she says, "I know you're copying his homework. Don't do it again." So I'm like, that's the other thing nuns do. They enunciate very well. So I'm like, how does she know I'm copying his homework? There's no fucking way that she's in the cafeteria at 8 in the morning watching me copy his homework. Nah, didn't see her. Nope, she has no clue. Next day, "Luxley, come here." I go up. "Do not copy Joe Bean's homework. How many times do I have to tell you, do not copy his homework? This is your second warning. There will not be a third warning. Do you understand?" "Sister, I swear to God, Shh! Don't make a fool of me. There will not be a third warning." So I'm like, how does she know that I'm copying his homework? There's no freaking way she knows. She's not God. She might talk to him. She might go out on dates with him, because that's what I used to think nuns did. So there's no way that she knows I'm copying Joe's homework. Just no fucking ways. Mortal sin, I said a curse. Third day, morning. "Luxley." I go up to her. She's, "Last warning, young man. Do not copy Joe Bean's homework. I am not going to tell you again." So, of course, I did it again, because I was like, does she know that I'm copying his homework? Well, I'll tell you how she knew. She has to follow the state curriculum on how to teach theorems in geometry, okay? And Joe was such a genius that he came up with his own theorems. His own theorems in geometry. They weren't the way she taught us those theorems. He did it on his own, and she knew I was copying him. He was such a genius. He could have been a physicist. He could have been a doctor. He could have been a lawyer. He could have been so many things. But no, he wanted to be Bruce Springsteen. And since Bruce Springsteen was already somebody and he couldn't be Bruce Springsteen, he wanted to be Joe Rock, who was this alter ego rock star that he created in his head. So one day she calls Joe in front of the class, and I was with him, and she says, "Mr. Bean," she says, "one day after you graduate, you're going to come back to school and you're going to see me. And I'm going to ask you, what have you done with your life, young man? And you're going to tell me that you're a truck driver." 4 years after we graduate, he's dating a girl who has a younger sister that goes to Holy Trinity, and guess who her sister has for geometry? Sister John Rose. He runs into her. She says, "Joe, what are you doing with your life now?" And Joe says, "I'm a truck driver." So I got curious. Joe Rock, similar name, similar voice, Do a little research, Twitter, Facebook, etc., etc. Turns out Joe Rock is Joe Bean. So, no, he didn't become a nuclear physicist. No, he didn't become a doctor. No, he didn't become a lawyer. But he is a late-night DJ on a local rock station, which is pretty damn cool. And I started reading about his life and all the traveling he did, and he has his own rock band. He's not Bruce Springsteen, but he loves what he does, and that's what's most important. So then I got curious, because I didn't want to do any more spring cleaning, because I got bored with that quick, so I was goofing around on Twitter looking up ex-girlfriends. That's always a dangerous thing. So we started in high school, okay? 14 years old, first real girlfriend. Not Kristen Murphy, who the one I asked out and then got the chicken pox a day later. That was a disaster. This is an altogether different disaster. Kristen, first girlfriend, adored her. Went out with her on and off, best friends, hated each other, going out together for 3 years, on and off, rinse and repeat. A lot of fun, let me tell you. Anyway, first time I met her family. Met her two sisters, met her brother, and met her mom. Went to her house, pool party in the backyard. Early July, big pool party, built-in pool, beautiful house. I was like, wow, I loved her parents, I loved her family. I was like, wow, I love this girl, I want to marry her. Of course, I was dumb as a kid, but I wanted to marry her. I was like 14 and I wanted to marry her. I wanted to be 8-10 years later, I wanted to get married. Oh my God, I was stupid. Anyway, I'm waiting all day for her father to come home, and I was like scared to meet him, as any 14-year-old boy would. I mean, come on, meeting your first girlfriend's father. It's a big thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm waiting. Finally, I see this guy walk into the backyard, tall, kind of muscular, very hairy, very dirty, because he was a landscaper and he had just like old dirt and grass all over him and everything. And he just kind of walks in with a lot of confidence and swag. And he goes over to my friend Steve, and he goes up to him and he says, Luxley! And he puts out a firm, confident hand for a handshake. He says, Luxley! Glad to meet you, young man. Dick Cramps. That was his real name, okay? Kristen's last name was Cramps. Her father's first name was Dick. Imagine how hysterical that is to a 14-year-old boy. And imagine how hard it is for that 14-year-old boy to keep that laughter locked up inside. It's like a balloon, a water balloon, hitting the cement, and it's not supposed to burst. That's what it was like, and it was hysterical. So she gave me my high school diploma in broken hearts, so then I decided to look up Carolyn, the one who gave me my bachelor's degree in broken hearts. Now, Carolyn was a really sweet girl. She had this certain optimism and innocence about her that was infectious, and I adored her for it. I absolutely adored her, and unlike Kristen, this adoration was mutual. We really had a great affection for each other. And I don't know, things got complicated. Maybe both of us weren't really ready for what was going on, and it got to the point where we were fighting a lot and didn't trust each other. So I decided that we were going to spend the summer apart, because I was going to be coming back, because I was on a 5-year program. So I was going to be coming back for a 5th year. She was going to be coming back for her senior year, and we would decide if we were really meant to be. We'd spend some time apart. If we were truly meant to be, we would be. If not, hopefully we could be friends. I was doing the old cliche, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it was always meant to be. That's bullshit. Don't ever do that. It's dumb. Anyway, I did that. I come back to school, and I'm driving around. I have a Corvette. Here I am, big stud senior on campus with a Corvette, can have any girl I want. And I'm like in my glory. I'm like the assistant soccer coach. I'm filming the game, preseason game. Got a couple of buddies with me. And we're in the stands. And these two guys are like goofing around with me. And they're like, wow, who's that girl over there? That redhead. She's hot. So as soon as I get a break from the action, I look over. And I'm like, yeah, she's hot. What are you? It was Carolyn. She was no longer a blonde. She was now a redhead. And she was on fire. Oh my fucking God, my life sucked. I mean, I wanted her back. She wanted nothing to do with me. Ouch, that sucked. Then I move on. A few years later, after leaving Wall Street, I was kind of confused, moved back in with my parents, and kind of figuring out what I wanted to do, which is when I met Dawn. Dawn was like a new day for me. This woman was incredible. And I remember when I first met her, I was set up on a blind date, and we were meeting at a bar called Canterbury Ales. And I was nervous beyond belief. And the fact that I showed up an hour early made me unconscionably nervous sitting around for an hour waiting for her to show up. So I decided to hang out in the bookstore, the book review across the street, looking at Canterbury Ales. I was kind of like spying, waiting for her to come in because I knew she'd be wearing this off-gray overcoat. And I was waiting for her to show up. And I'm waiting an hour and driving myself bonkers. Suddenly this girl walks in. See her across the street. She was a cross between Helen Hunt on her best day and Michelle Pfeiffer sexy on her youngest, bestest day. And I was like, oh my God. But, you know, it was a saucy, hot relationship for a while. But the fact is, I was confused. I was immature. She wanted someone more together. She wanted somebody more mature, and rightfully so. She was 4 years older than me. And she was also straight out of a divorce, who she used to tell me that her husband was gay. Because all women will say men that don't sleep with them are gay. Anyway, it didn't work out. It ended really badly. But I must say, I did look her up on Twitter, curious. And there were some really amazing quotes that I wanted to share with you guys on Twitter. And one particular quote I thought was amazing. And it's from Tony Robbins. It says, "Trade your expectation for appreciation and the world changes instantly." I thought that was a great quote. And other quotes were just great because this is what she does. She's a life coach. The most creative act you will ever undertake is the act of creating yourself. Deepak Chopra. Growing as a person is more important than what you look like or what you own. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I mean, these are all kind of very, very basic quotes, but great stuff. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. I'm just going to put all these quotes in the description. Look at them in your leisure. They were a ton of good stuff, all inspirational stuff that I wanted to share with you. And also, I want you guys to follow me on Twitter. You don't actually have to follow me. Just click the button so it looks like I have followers. So when I apply to Youch, they will probably accept me. Anyway, hope you enjoyed my little story. Have a good day.